Okay, our guest today again for the Horn Notes video podcast is Dr. James Boldin. Welcome.
Hi again. Thanks again for having me.
Sure. Now, we just talked on the previous episode about his publications, the Solo Duet Training for Horns publication. But in the intro, we noted that he has been performed extensively with a group called the Black Bayou Brass, which is a resident faculty ensemble at the University of Louisiana at Monroe. And how long have you been at the University of Louisiana at Monroe?
I've been at ULM for 10 years. I just finished up my 10th year. I got here in the fall of 2006. And
wow, we're all getting old here.
I know, right?
Yes. Wow. Well, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, so you've been playing in the trio a faculty trio for 10 years. Yeah, you must have ran through a lot of music at this point.
Yeah, and so the first year I was here, it was actually a quintet. It was a faculty quintet, and then through various things, people retiring and different people filling those positions, we made the decision after that first year to become a brass trio. And there was some hesitation about it at first because I'd done a lot of brass quintet playing in graduate school, and actually my dissertation topic was about brass quintet repertoire, and so that was one of the attractions to the position, and I assume one of the reasons they were interested in me. And then so after 1 year of doing a lot of brass quintet playing, it's like, okay, now we're a brass trio, and I knew about the Poulenc trio, and that was pretty much it. So we kind of had to go from there. Started to discover that there's actually a lot of original repertoire for the brass trio. There's a lot of arrangements as well, and there's lots of things being created all the time. So in the course of those last 9 years, we've done hundreds of concerts for high school students. We've actually been to Thailand. We did a 9-day residency there at Mahidol University and played at some other places. Commissioned some works and love to be involved in finding new music for brass trio as well as helping to create it. Each of the members of the group has done quite a bit of arranging as well.
Yeah. Well, when you mentioned brass trios and doctorates and stuff, it made me think back. So in my doctoral program, one of my recitals was a chamber recital, and it was brass trios. Okay. Believe it or not. So we played, I remember playing, at this point, of course, the Poulenc, which is like, of course, you play the Poulenc.
The brass.
We played the Beethoven arrangement that Robert King publishes.
That's a good one.
And the other thing we played was the Vern Reynolds trio.
Oh,
for,
yeah.
Trumpet, horn, and trombone, and that was like, I remember that being that's such a nice work in its way, and it's just not performed very much. Of course, I studied with Vern too, so I have an idea what he was wanting on it.
Right.
You've obviously gone, so in your group obviously is trumpet, horn, and trombone.
Correct.
And there's other kinds of trios. We'll come back to those in a second. Okay. So you obviously been working on this a long time though, and you have an article in the Horn Call very recently, which talks about a lot of this stuff in more depth. So what issue is that in?
It's in the May 2015 issue.
Okay, and what's the gist of it?
Well, the catchy title is Brass Trio Repertoire Beyond Poulenc, and so I started with that premise of what else is there besides the Poulenc, because whenever I talk to people about playing in a brass trio, that's usually one of the first things they say is, oh, well, what else is there besides the Poulenc? So I had this idea to create an annotated bibliography or an annotated list of just sort of my top picks. So there's a top 10 list, works that I really feel strongly about that are original to the brass trio, trumpet, horn, trombone, and then some more information about a little bit bigger list of works, about 25 or so, and then just some bibliographic listings of about 300 or 400 more. And it was one of those things where as soon as I sent the article in, I started remembering, one I forgot to include, or, I heard about a new one just being composed. So there's new pieces being written all the time.
Yeah, no, that's like, first, number one, it's a great resource. If anybody's thinking about this topic at all, you need to track down the article, because it'll definitely help you out. There's so much, it's always, when you get looking at anything, it seems like almost every combination, there's more written for it than you would think there is written for it. And so that came kind of case too here. So at ASU, last time they had a faculty quintet was like well before I came to the faculty at ASU, put it that way. But one of the previous horn teachers, Ralph Lockwood, had a faculty or semi-faculty trio that was horn, trombone, and tuba. And when I got to ASU, he graciously gave me quite a little bit of music and stuff, so I had these folders of trios for that combination. Included some original works and some arrangements, quite a number of arrangements that he had done. So once we had another hire in the area, we had Doug Yo come on the faculty, and he was real interested to play some things and put together a trio with the horn, trombone, actually bass trombone, and tuba. And some of the music is from those folders. And we made a recording called Table for Three, which again, if the combination, as I was saying before we started rolling, not having a trumpet in the group solves a lot of problems. But I love my trumpet colleagues, don't get me wrong. But it does actually makes a very nice combination of sounds, especially for us on horn. I think it's something we can really appreciate. For that, I put together a Rika Trio arrangement for horn, trombone, and tuba, which I think works pretty well, and I've published those actually through my Horn Notes edition. I know that for sure there's Rika Trios with trumpet, horn, and trombone as well. Correct?
That's right, yeah, and I think one of the things about your arrangement, because I have your CD as well, it's fantastic. I think the blend with the sort of conical brass is probably a little bit easier to achieve than with the higher brass trio, trumpet, horn, trombone. We've done those Rika trios in our group, and if you're a horn player, you kind of grow up with those Rika trio sounds of all the parts being played by horns, and so there was they were good arrangements. They just weren't nearly as satisfying as playing them in a horn trio. But I feel like in the low brass trio, the horn, bass, trombone, tuba, I think it pretty much captures that kind of blend.
Yeah, they work good. They work good. Now, you did say in your article there's like sort of a top 10 list. I mean, without giving your entire article away so nobody looks at it, what are like, say, maybe 5 of them that you think are particularly like other than Poulenc? So Poulenc is for granted. What are like 5 more that you would recommend pretty highly?
Yeah, so in no particular order, these are, alphabetical order, but not in order of preference or anything. Mm-hmm. Lauren Bernovsky's trio. Really nice. It's been recorded by a group at the University of Maryland. It's on one of their CDs. Really good. It's challenging. The horn part just kind of stays up there, but it's a very rewarding piece. It's substantial too. It's about 12 or 13 minutes long.
Wow.
Eric Ewazen's A Philharmonic Fanfare, written for members of the New York Philharmonic. That's a great opener to a recital or any other kind of program.
Wow, now that one sounds like cool right away. Ewazen, his music, a lot of it sounds like Ewazen, right? It's got that groove that Ewazen's
definitely. All of the things we love about his music are in that trio. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That sounds good. Well, keep going.
So Bernovsky, Ewazen, Arthur Frackenpole. He's actually got a couple of brass trios, but this one is for, of course, of Frackenpole from him being on the faculty at the Crane School.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, Frackenpole. We made a recording with the Potsdam Brass Quintet when I was still there. The title of it was The Art of Brass. And it was all music and arrangements of Arthur Frackenpole. So, wow, I didn't know that he had a trio in particular and that it rated up that high. So that's cool.
It's really nice. It's really tuneful. It's 4 movements, pretty substantial work. It's about 10 or 12 minutes, just like the Bernovsky. Jan Kutsier, who I kind of have a special affinity for, I've recorded a CD of his music. He's got a piece called Figaro Metamorphosin, and it's a set of variations based on themes from The Marriage of Figaro. So it starts out with the ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it kind of takes off from there. The trombone part to that is pretty notable. It takes a really high-level player on all 3 parts, but particularly the trombone part. So that's a great piece. Figaro Metamorphosis.
Well, just jumping in on Kutsier just for a second too. I just got a hold of finally a printed copy of the Colloquy for a Horn Workshop.
Oh,
which I'm planning to do next year. We've got enough players to do it. It says it's for 8 horns, but really you need at least 12. It's like 16 would be better.
Oh, okay.
Because it's got those solo parts that split off from the other parts. But that piece is very cool. So I imagine the trio would also be a very cool piece.
Yeah,
from what you're describing.
I kind of describe his music as it's witty and sort of lighthearted, but it's fiendishly difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
It's well worth it. It's really, really nice stuff.
Right. Keep going.
Okay, so that's 4, right? Bernowski, Iwazin, Frackenpole, Kutsier, and this is tough. I actually have. Okay, so I got to say this piece.
You can have a tie if you have to.
Well, I got to pick this one. It's called Flash.
Flash.
That's the title, Flash.
You mean like the stuff on your computer, the thing that like if it locks up or no, Flash Gordon. Okay,
yeah,
Flash.
Yeah, it's by a composer named Jérôme Nollet. He's a trombonist actually. I think he's French. I didn't necessarily put that in the article, but just based on the name, French or in that area. He teaches. He was a graduate of the Paris Conservatory, so lots and lots of brass pieces. Actually, he's done a lot of playing of contemporary music. So anyway, I found this piece just kind of during a random internet search for brass trio music. I do that every once in a while and just see, what's new out there. And I saw this piece and I was like, oh, Flash. It doesn't say anything about it. There wasn't a sound sample or anything. It's published by Editions Mark Reift or Reift EMR Editions in Switzerland. And actually, my trio's live recording of that they use that as the demo now on the piece. For the piece on their website. So if you want to hear what Flash sounds like by Jérôme Nollet, you can go to the Editions Mark Reift website and check it out. It's a great opener. It's about 5.5, 6 minutes long. And I like it, I guess, for selfish horn player reasons. The whole piece is basically like a horn feature. So it's really cool.
Well, shouldn't they all be?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, yeah, so there's some great music there. So, and obviously, you can come up with all kinds of repertoire for like schools, concerts, and anything else. Sounds like brass trio's got. I mean, the regular brass trio certainly, the trumpet one, the regular one. There's a lot of music out there, and even the one I've played in here. There's really enough music that you could do some interesting stuff. We commissioned some pieces. So yeah, it's definitely don't feel limited that you don't feel bummed. I guess I underline point here is don't feel bummed that you can't form a quintet because you don't have all the people to do it. There's still music you can play that is cool and sounds good and will engage an audience and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for joining us for a little chat about trios, James, and be tuning back in again for more from the Horn Notes video podcast. And let me stop this. And how long have you been at the UNL? University? How long have you been at the University of Louisiana at Monroe?
I've been at ULM for 10 years. I just finished up my 10th year. I got here in the fall of 2006.